Good morning, America. Good morning, friends of Israel and Israel. I'm going to talk a little bit today about something that is very um, prevalent to the situation that we have in the Middle East. Time now is 11:33. Today is 3/20/2026, and it's Friday. You know, we've all been watching what's going on with the Middle East and Iran and Israel and the United States involvement in the war against Iran. But what we haven't analyzed is the concept of the involvement of Nato versus Russia, and then China. Now, Israel has been a part of all of this. Israel is the center of all this conflict. Here's why. The nations that I have mentioned are all superpowers. You have Iran, you have Russia, you have NATO, and then you have America and China. So now you have basically 5 superpowers in this world. And all are vying for the superpower of the future. But what no one sees is the little guy in the bunch, and that's Israel. And I'm going to be very specific about this. And I want you to analyze this concept. What if there was a false flag? What if there was a false flag to set off a nuclear weapon, a mass nuclear weapon? What would happen to this superpower and ability? What would happen to Russia versus NATO versus China? They would all kill each other off. Am I correct in saying that? So that leaves Israel, after we've already finished with Iran, if we win this war. But we are going to be at a great loss. And men and in warfare activities and warfare hardware. Do you understand what I'm trying to say here? In other words, everyone is looking at the big pictures, but they forget about the little guy in the middle. You understand what I'm saying to you? You see, let me put it this way. In the dispersation of the Hebrew tribes from Babylon, they came down and they dispersed among the other nations. Some went to Syria, some went to Turkey, some went to the southern portions of the Gaza area, some went to Egypt, and then dispersed, they migrated. And then there were those who basically went to Europe. Now, In analyzing this myself, I see that Europe, under the auspices of Britain brought in the Jews that were in Europe. And what were they then? They were mixed in with the Nazi regimes and doctrines. Now they let them off at in Israel, where they were given the lands, and they took the lands, never knowing that the real Hebrews were the ones occupying those lands, which they later occupied, or Israel later occupied. Now I can go into detail in what Hebrew tribes went and what section and location they went to. But if you look at history, you will find that I am correct. Now, the question lies: what is the intent of Israel? What is the intent that Israel has for those superpowers? Again, I say, you have Nato, you have Russia, you have Iran, and you have China. They've already started a war with Iran. So what happens when there is a great war after a nuclear weapon is set off? It's like, how would you say, push or nudge the lion so the lion can react, or the tiger to react. And what does a tiger do when it's nudged? It attacks. And when it attacks, it goes for its closest opponents. Now you have NATO, you have China, you have Russia, and you have Iran, all sovereign nations and superpowers with missiles, with nuclear weapons, while you have Israel in the middle. Let me give you a real true belief in what is going to happen in Israel and in the Middle East, so that you may understand it. America is being set up with a kill, and so are the great superpowers. You see, the whole intent of Israel is to become the great superpower of the future. So that means depopulation of the masses. And as I've said before many times, it will take a total nuclear war to depopulate this world. 3/4 of the human population will be decimated. And you will be seeing dead bodies everywhere because of a nuclear total war. Now, it's been said that if you change over to smaller nuclear capabilities, you may survive, and some may survive. But beyond that, you will have far, far levels of destruction and desolation. You will have China, you will have NATO, you will have Russia, and you will have Iran in America, and desolate and desolation and destruction. Now, be it far from me to say that you and I are not going to be here. People die every day. But the population means the whole of the earth. Cut it down to, 500 million people? And we have over 9 billion people on this planet. Those Georgia guidestones that were in Georgia suddenly disappeared. But they were telling you a story. What if you got 9 billion people that downsized to 500 million? What if? Now that idea came from somewhere. The intelligence of those people who did that gave you a warning of what they were doing for the future. In America, you've been sitting on the answer all along. Now, what do you do about Israel? Israel is being decimated right now, being destroyed. There's nothing left, almost nothing left of Tel Aviv, and it looks like Gaza. Now watch what happens to Jerusalem. Watch what happens to Jerusalem. And that temple, it's going to take a long time. And another thing, I'm going to say this to you. The man that you expect to be the Antichrist is going to have a missing right eye. A missing right eye. It's not the one that you're going to put up in Jared Kushner or his false prophet. Those are all speculations. But I do expect a Mahdi from Iran and a Mahdi from the Arabs. Now, there are so many stories about people showing up and saying they are the Mahdi. But you know, there's a trait that the Mahdi does have. In fact, he has several pointers to indicate who he is. The Mahdi will not know who he is until the one day that he is awakened. Now, the Mahdi means an anointed one or a appointed one. The Dajjal is another matter. He's an evil one. Now we're working on the cloning process of a found carcass of Gilgamesh or Nimrod, the first tyrant of this world, the first one, who believed that all men should think as one like he. His desire was to break through to heaven and appoint himself God. But guess what? He failed. And since then, there have been little secret societies trying to imitate him, trying to create a one world order Messiah. Now, Like I said, I'm just a simple man with a whole lot of intelligence. Watch out for Israel, America. Watch out for Israel. I'm not going against the chosen people or those who are real, true Hebrews and not the Zionists that came from Europe. Because you have true Hebrews among them. And true God-fearing Hebrews. And those that were exterminated in Gaza, who are now laying in mass graves underneath the soil where you people want to build a Gaza cosmic city over the mass graves of children and women raped and murdered by an occupied force of the IDF. Those are strong words, I'm saying. And you know it's true. And many of your soldiers did see that happening. And by the way, October 7th was manipulated by Israel. The truth shall set men free. The truth shall set men free. It was manipulated by Israel. And notice, it's set with a day of Purim. October 7th, the day that, how would you say, the dragon prophecy came about in the middle of Gaza. With that, I'll leave you. And think of what you're going to do with Israel. And think if you're really going to send human lives, young human American lives into Iran to invade on a precursor of Israel, on the suggestion of Israel, who wants to destroy America as well. Because once America is gone, and China, and NATO, and Europe, and Russia are gone, there are no obstacles. And America is in the way, so that this nation will be taken out of the way according to scriptures. And Israel will be left alone to manage the rest and remnant of the human race after the Great War. With that, I'll leave you. America, you know what you're going to do. Oh, one more thing. President Trump will be the last president this nation has had. He will be the last one. There will be no other. There will be no other president. Beware. Beware. God bless all of you.